Hey guys, welcome to a new video and likely the last one before we got an ETF. Not sure if it's gonna be up and running, but definitely we're gonna have heard the news about it. So we're gonna quickly go through BTC, ETH, a few altcoins, and just gonna keep it higher time frame focused mainly, and talking a bit about the ETF because of course, when this thing goes live or gets announced, anything about it, we're going to see a lot of volatility and going to see moves up and down, and it's going to be all over the place. So focusing on short-term charts doesn't make much sense, and so we're just going to ruin all the charts if we do that. So just talking about the ETF and all that kind of stuff. First off, check out the links below for all the partners, and if you're interested, there's some nice deposit bonuses as well. So let's head straight into it. So this doodle has basically been on this chart for I think 2 or 3 weeks by now, which was my rough estimation of what's gonna happen for the next few weeks and around this ETF. So the idea was basically we chop around and then on the ETF we get some kind of news pump up. We reject somewhere around here and then we slowly sell off in Q1 while like the alts and especially ETH will outperform BTC, I think. And at some point, we're just gonna make a nice higher low and then go from there. Now, I realize like a lot of people think the exact same thing at this point. So it might not even be that easy because, of course, we already swept out a lot of long leverage here with these recent flushes. You can see with all these wicks, which don't seem that large here, but these things are well over like 2-3% in like minutes usually. So what has been happening, especially here with this big dump, of course, but also after all these wicks down here, people have been pre-positioning, waiting for the ETF news to drop. So they're going long, thinking, okay, if the news drops now, we're gonna pump and I'm gonna be up a lot. But of course, if you do that too early, you're gonna get punished for it, which has been happening a lot. So you can see with all these run-ups, there's like a lot of longs coming in, and then price falls over, and all the longs gets flushed out, and it's happening over and over and over and over. That's why, in the end, you're best off just not trading these because it's really hard to have an edge and actually profit from it. Looks like we might just do it in real time right now because I think here a lot of longs entered as well on this pump. And then for now, they roll over again, they're swept out, and then at some point, probably when the news actually drops, they're all going to be out or they have given up or lost everything already. So that's usually how these things go. So really you're best off just not doing anything or just really waiting until the actual news drops, and hopefully if you're early maybe you can squeeze out something, but more often than not it would just chop you up, and then by the time it actually hits you're either given up or you've lost so much that it's even going to be hard to make it back, even if you get the trade right in the end. But so that's a good recommendation, I think, in this case, and it's I think everyone that has been trading this has surely felt that. So with this ETF, I do think we're just assuming and it gets approved here. Of course, there's like a non-zero chance it doesn't, but I think it's gonna be like very very small. So assuming it gets approved, I do think with all these longs flushed out, all this kind of stuff, some people are becoming kind of bearish. I do think at least we'll get like a pump up to new yearly highs. I think that should be very doable, even if it's just with as a liquidity grab, even above this level. I think we will make it higher. Then the main level on this high time frame to look at would be 48k approximately, which corresponds very nicely as well with, of course, the high in 2019 in the last cycle. So we came from the bottom, we rallied up, we did it in like half a year here. So this took us quite a lot longer, but it's more sustainable. Of course, we had the COVID crash, all that kind of stuff here. So let's hope we don't get like a black swan somewhere. But usually we do get some kind of correction in the second year of the cycle. Usually not this big though, of course. So it would correspond nicely with the last cycle where we just sweep this level, maybe sweep the 2022 high here, the March one, and then we consolidate here, and then hopefully ETH after that takes over a bit and outperforms. Obviously, if BTC does this, I don't think ETH is going to go up in USD value, but I do think we'll see the ETH BTC chart move up from there, but we're gonna head into that next. So for now, I'm just waiting out, seeing what this thing will bring. I think we'll go up a bit, and one scenario I have been entertaining right now, since this is basically the main scenario everyone, including me, has been thinking, which will happen. So another scenario I could see happening, because it's the thing I'm seeing mentioned the least on my timeline. We move up, then here people will call top, they think we'll sell off, but maybe we get like a tiny dip, and then from there on out we move a bit higher. Then we're at like 50k-ish, and at this point everyone is gonna be like, especially if this takes like a week or two, you know. So at this point people are gonna be like, okay, no, it's not gonna be sell the news, we're just gonna go straight to all-time highs. But then here actually it started distributing for a while, it hovers here, and from here on out the actual cooling off or sell the news or whatever kinda occurs, and then from here on out we move down a bit, and these levels are interesting spots to look at in case we get there at some point. But this is a scenario I could very well see happening. So we move up, we hover around here, people will start calling for a top here, as they have been doing on this way up. But then we move up even more, a bit higher, above 50k, sweep this level, go higher than people are expecting, because all the targets are like 48 to 50k, so maybe we sweep 50k, nice psychological level as well. And then from there on out we actually sell off. So at this point I think the white doodle is more likely, and if we do actually hold up here and we don't instantly retrace, of course, but I think this is a very probable scenario as well. So of course this is just guessing in the end, and who knows what's gonna happen. So we'll just have to look at it from day to day, and right now I'm like not trading anything at all, because it's just so many unknowns and so much volatility coming up. I think what we've seen here the past week is nothing compared to what's gonna happen this week, honestly, so we're just gonna wait and see. To easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out CoinMarketManager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while and I can't go without at this point. Alright, then heading on. Of course, real quick, this is the low time frame range we're still in, so this has been holding pretty nicely. I think we drew it last week somewhere. Yeah, so recording was I think somewhere around here or whatever, but so far the range has been holding, and both the top and the bottom has been reacting quite well. So this is also a nice one to look at if you're trading this lower time frame. Heading on to ETH. So let's say we get the scenario which is what everyone is thinking. So we move up a bit with ETF, then from there on out we sell off. From there I would ideally like to see this being held, but if BTC really corrects to like 38k or something, we might not hold this, because it's quite a drop for BTC. In that case, I am looking for this to outperform BTC on the downside, but we might just touch this diagonal, for example, and then from there on out bounce again. Because trading here, people would get really bearish and call for new bear market lows or whatever. Watch this breaking down. Then I think this could be like a big deviation below, and if we get something like this, could be the last bigger dip before this really breaches into 3k territory, because at some point if this goes, it's gonna go quick, and ETH will be one of the main coins I will be looking to add on dips if we get it somewhere in the next few months. EBTC, still looking for this main scenario. So we've been talking about this for a long time. I think this is going to spike down if BTC goes up on ETF news. I think it's going to take out the June 22 lows. And I think afterwards, hopefully it holds, or maybe it trades around here for a while. You know, it breaks down, it trades around here for a while, make people bearish on the breakdown, and then from there on out just slowly grinds up, retakes it, and then it takes off. Doesn't matter how it happens, but if it sweeps this and it trades back below here, I would be looking to allocate BTC into ETH here. And afterwards, if it trades higher, breaks this horizontal, the diagonal, and this day 200 MA and EMA, I will be looking to allocate additional BTC into ETH on this break. So that's basically the plan here, and I will be perfectly fine having like a majority of in ETH opposed to BTC at this point if we do break this trend, as I think ETH will easily make it here and might even go to the range high in like the next year or so, even though at this point this is pretty far off. But I think the sentiment, the chart, everything just lining up, ETH spot ETF probably being the next narrative, I think it makes a lot of sense. But at this point, of course, we will have to wait for confirmations and how it all evolves, all that kind of stuff. But I think this is a pretty realistic scenario, to be honest. And of course, Bitcoin dominance will then likely first spike up a bit more, and then I think it's gonna reject somewhere around here. And I think this will then be coupled with BTC cooling off a bit in this quarter, which will also likely make alts outperform, I think. If you do get something like this, of course, I think in this initial drop, people are just going to sell off everything, so alts might underperform. But then as BTC heads into some higher time frame support levels, for example here, or 40k even, I think slowly alts are going to start outperforming BTC as people are like, okay, we've had the majority of the first drop, usually the sharpest part of the drop, and then usually alts start outperforming BTC as it tends to head into like some higher time frame support levels, and then from there on out, as BTC starts grinding it back up, alts tend to do quite well. So I think spike up, and then BTC starts selling off, alts might sell off a bit more, and then from there on out, BTC dominance I think might even be the cycle high, but who knows. After this ETF, I think it makes a lot of sense that BTC dominance tops out on the ETF approval, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, we can just play this level by level. Last few charts, total dominant or total market cap, pretty clear, like these levels. Would be nice if it holds like 1.5 trillion. Not sure if it does. Might see a bit of a deviation. But of course, I mean, this is in the scenario which we're assuming will happen, where we sell off a bit. If, of course, we get that other scenario where we first go higher, even though no one thinks it will, then it might start looking something like this. And even if you sell afterwards, you can easily just make a higher low somewhere around here and then move from there. So that's all some scenarios you can keep in mind, and just play day by day. There's no point in trying to predict this weeks in advance, because there's going to be so many things happening at once, and very like a lot of unknowns. So we'll see as it happens. And on two alts to talk about. Stacks, which is one of the stronger alts right now, which was to be expected as it's like a BTC beta coin, so it tends to move up more when BTC goes up and moves down more when BTC goes down. But during the Cointelegraph fake ETF approval news, which was here the 16th of October, BTC ended the day up about 5%, and you can see here Stacks ended up 6%. Might not sound like a lot, but most alts were up like 2 or 3%, because when BTC goes up a lot, it just outperforms everything. All BTC pairs tend to go down, but something like Stacks and Bitcoin Cash even, they outperformed. So it's good to keep an eye on these, because it's probably one of the few coins that will go up with BTC in a similar pace if BTC goes up a lot on this news. And yeah, I mean, the chart looks great. I mean, as long as it holds this 130-ish level, I do think it will slowly just make its way towards all-time high at $3. But it's quite far off for now. But definitely keep an eye on this. Overall, it's just very, very unique in what it does as well. Doesn't really have that many competitors as far as I know, and it's obviously the biggest, while still being relatively small compared to like a lot of coins. So I think this can be a good performer for the months or year to come, even with halving hype somewhere later this year. And then lastly, something entirely different is Blur, mainly because I do like the chart. I think it might consolidate in this falling wedge for like a little longer, might even take a while longer. Like it could, of course, do something all the way down here, like get to this point, then from there on out you get like a sharp bounce up, and real confirmation will be above like 44 cents, which you can see is like an important area, because had a bounce here, then from here on out broke down, made new lows, basically at a rejection here. It's like the most important area on this chart. So I think if this falling wedge breaks and we trade back above here, I think that could make for a nice move back towards nearly this yearly highs, but towards this range high above this area. But this will likely only be coupled with NFTs doing well, which I think will happen somewhere past the initial ETH rally once it comes. So I think ETH rallies, then all these coins like Lido, Arbitrum, all these ETH related coins will rally, ETH DeFi. And then lastly, when everything is done, I think people will start gambling on NFTs again. And one of the main coins people will look to get exposure on NFTs if they don't actually want to buy them would be Blur, which is the main marketplace for NFTs. So that's basically the idea. Let's see what will happen this week with ETF. Stay off the leverage, be chill, and don't get wrecked, because volatility is going to be extremely high. There's going to be some random moves which you don't expect to happen. And overall, there's just going to be a lot of liquidations as well on both sides, I'd assume. So take care and keep calm. Just enjoy the ride and see what will happen. Exciting times ahead for sure. And I hope to see you all next week again. Bye-bye.